Houston Public Works is responsible for the daily tasks you may take for granted. You may not notice us, but we work around the clock to support you. We are the foundation for life in Houston. Houston Water distributes enough fresh water to fill the Astrodome 4 times a day. Transportation and drainage operations handles 16,000 miles of streets. Over 1 million signs and street names and thousands of drains. The Houston Permitting Center regulates hundreds of projects so you can work, play, and live safely. Customer Account Services ensures 2.1 million people have access to safe drinking water with efficiency, accuracy, and flexibility. Capital Projects manages the critical improvements that make Houston better every single day. Houston is always moving towards growth, innovation, and progress. We are the largest, most diverse public works organization in the country. We are one team with one purpose. Together, we create a strong foundation for Houston to thrive.
Excuse me. Good evening, and thank you for participating in our live virtual community meeting today. My name is Kenya Williams with Houston Public Works. The goal of today's meeting is to keep you informed and know what to expect during construction for the West Alabama Paving and Drainage Project. Before we begin, I would kindly ask if you could hold all questions until the end of our presentation. Many of the answers you're looking for will be answered within the presentation, and so we'd like to respectfully ask for your full attention at this time. Later, we will open up the questions and answer session at the end of the presentation. Here at Houston Public Works, we believe that together we create a strong foundation for Houston to thrive. There are 5 service lines at Houston Public Works. Today's meeting is being presented by Capital Projects. I would like to introduce the Assistant Director for Capital Projects, Juan Chavera, and in turn, he will introduce the project team responsible for this project to you. Juan?
Okay, thank you, Kenya, and Thank you to Councilmember Kamen and her staff for being here tonight and hosting us as we talk about West Alabama, a project that we've been designing and working on for quite a long time now. And we are very proud to be finally moving into the construction phase for which we're going to speak to here in a few moments. During this tremendous effort, our goals are to minimize impacts to everybody, to include residents and businesses, and keep them moving and keep traffic flowing and maintaining continuity of operations, all while ensuring successful delivery of this project. My personal commitment to all of you here is that we will work very closely with the council member's office, your local associations, any clubs around there, and we'll try to provide adequate and timely updates on construction activities, everything from lane closures to the switches or anything else we feel is important to you as a daily commuter. So with that, I will now introduce the team. So for the city of Houston, we have Mohammed Sabzevari, Mohammed Warad, Stephen Campagna, and Nancy Siraj Eldine. And they'll be the ones basically liaisoning between the city, the asset managers, the street and traffic folks, and ultimately through the construction contractors and with all the business and residents around that area. Representing the construction contractor is Samuel Montoya from SCR Construction Partners. SCR is their reputation precedes them, so rest assured that you're going to have a very well delivered project with SCR. Part of the the consulting firm here is AECOM, and so here we have Rich, Chancethy, Abigail, and Anna, and they'll be the ones here providing phase 3 services throughout construction, or basically design services throughout construction. And the firm providing construction management and inspection services is TLC Engineering. And then with us tonight, we have Artania, who's also overseeing a very high visibility project. So, you know, she knows what we need on this project and we'll be there to answer and address all questions. And then Khalid, also there to assist Artania. So with that, Kenya, over to you.
Thank you, Juan. Let's talk about this project, how to prepare for construction, and who to contact. Houston Public Works is committed to building forward and not building back the same way. The purpose of this project is to improve the roadway pavement and mobility for vehicular, cycling, and pedestrian traffic along West Alabama Street from Westland Street to Buffalo Speedway. In addition, this project will also improve public utilities and drainage infrastructures. This $14.5 million paving project is expected to take approximately 480 days or 1.5 years. The project will begin in January of 2022 and will be completed by spring, more specifically in May of 2023. This schedule can vary based on weather conditions. The contractor will work Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The contractor is SCR Construction, and the project manager is Stephen Campagna. Improvements include new street paving, sidewalks, and shared use paths, including safe pedestrian crossing at all signalized intersections. Updated lane configuration to include one westbound lane, one eastbound lane, and one two-way center turn lane with on-street dedicated bike lanes. New storm sewer system, water lines and sanitary sewer lines, widening of Timmons Lane north of West Alabama Street, and finally, new traffic signals at Westland Street, Timmons Lane, and Edlow Street. As you can see here, by these numbers, this is a VIP, a very important project. Here's Exhibit 1 that shows the existing and proposed aerial views of West Alabama and Timmons Lane intersection. In the proposed, as you can see, you're going to have the shared use path, bike lane, left turn only lane, and intersection safety improvements that will include all ADA compliant. infrastructure. This is the proposed cross-section of West Alabama. This cross-section applies to the blocks between Cummins Street and Jonell Street. This cross-section applies to the blocks between Westland Street and Cummins Street and the blocks between Jonell Street and Buffalo Speedway. This is the proposed cross-section of Timmons Lane and begins north of West Alabama Street. Construction activities will begin in January of 2022 and last through May of 2023, which is around 16 months. The project will be divided into 4 major phases of construction. Phase 1A in green will take place during winter and spring of 2022 and is for the construction of the eastbound lanes on West Alabama from Westland Street to Buffalo Speedway. Phase 1B in orange will take place during the summer and fall of 2022 and is for the construction of the intersections on the south side of West Alabama. Phase 2A in blue will take place during the fall of 2022 through the winter of 2023 and is for the construction of the westbound lanes on West Alabama from Westland Street to Buffalo Speedway. And finally, Phase 2B in magenta will take place during the winter and spring of 2022 and is for the construction of the intersections on the 2023 on the north side of West Alabama as well as Timmons Lane. The project timeline is as follows. Construction will begin on January 10th of 2022 with the anticipated completion to be in May of 2023. What to anticipate during these construction phases? I heard someone say once, organize, don't agonize. So if you prepare for construction, the time it takes to complete the project will fly by. The first step to getting organized is to keep your door hanger. These door hangers contain pertinent contact information in case you have further questions or concerns. If your dog ate the door hanger, no worries. You can go to the project page online to view the contact information there at engagehouston.org and click on Street Projects. If you have objects in the right-of-way, please remove them now, as soon as possible. If you have specific landscaping that you would like saved, we suggest that you relocate such plant material now. Grass will be restored in areas upon completion of all construction. For most of the properties in the area, the City of Houston project right-of-way will extend about 2 feet from back of sidewalk. However, storm sewer and sanitary sewer line replacements will leave some residents with open excavations in their yards at times. As a result of this and related capital improvement projects, the city and the contractors are granted full access into the right-of-way. Once complete, the contractor is required to restore the impacted area of the grounds to the City of Houston standards. So again, if you have objects in the right-of-way, please remove them now as soon as possible. Lastly, we want you to meet the project team. This includes the contractor, the inspectors, and the project manager. Homeowners associations and local business owners are invited to attend the monthly contractor status meeting that will allow them to provide periodic updates to the community. The contractor has a restoration plan for all properties. Once the project is complete, the contractor is required to restore the impacted area to the city standards. Please do not make repairs yourself. Restoration typically starts once the project is complete. The city does not approve final payment to the contractor until they complete their own assessment to ensure restoration is sufficient. We recommend that you document current conditions by taking pictures of your property in the right-of-way area near the street and curb. The pictures should resolve any questions when it comes time for the contractor to repair or replace any items. Please be aware and obey all construction signs and barriers. Safety is priority number one for everyone involved in this project. For your safety and ours, please pay attention to the following safety objects. Now I have good news and bad news. The bad news is because this is construction, there will be some inconveniences. The good news is that they are only temporary. Water. You will lose water for a short period of time when the contractor is reconnecting to installed water lines. The contractor will provide advance notice 72 hours in advance when doing so. Trees. Trees to be removed are identified on the tree protection plan posted on the project page at engagehouston.org. Diseased or dying trees will be removed. The City of Houston has identified trees that can be preserved during construction on a case-by-case basis. Both the city and the contractor are taking every precaution to protect existing trees and properties as best they can. Additional right-of-way markers may be placed along the curb and sidewalk or driveway area, and removal of these causes added delays and expense. So please do not remove these markers or any protective precautions that have been provided to the adjacent properties. Driveways. One driveway will be constructed at a time for properties with more than one driveway. Individual driveways may be impacted for several days during the construction process. Once construction begins on a street, the contractor will give notice 72 hours in advance if they need to work on a specific driveway. The contractor will work with individual businesses to ensure accessibility during construction. Bus service will be coordinated with the contractor. Trash and other services will still be available during construction. This project involves lane closures, but at least one lane will always be open to traffic throughout the entirety of the project. Detours will be provided along adjacent cross streets to ensure availability access for all movements within the project area. We encourage you to go to engagehouston.org to view more project details. And here is a brief demo on how to navigate your way on engagehouston.org.
Welcome to engagehouston.org. We're incredibly excited to share this platform with you. This site allows us to communicate with Houstonians about the changes that are happening in their neighborhood. Our goal was to make it visually fun and engaging, as well as simple to navigate so that anyone would be able to find what they need. Thanks to Google Translate, users can translate the language used on the website, which makes for even more user-friendliness. On the home screen, you can navigate the 4 project types that we support: drainage, street, wastewater, and water projects. Beneath that, you're going to see a variety of resources. This is where you can go if you want to watch us in action, view various Houston Public Works initiatives, and so much more. All of these resources can also be found up here in our header. For all public meetings, we send out notifications to the community, and one way to access the meeting link is to click on this Join Us button pictured here. When you select the Join Us button, it's going to take you to our upcoming virtual community meeting schedule. As you can see, there are a few virtual meetings planned for this month that have already been scheduled on the calendar. Another great thing about this website is that we have enabled social media shares. Users can share meeting links, project pages, and updates to their social media feed through private messages and/or email, and this helps us in getting more information out to the community. Now, let's explore what a project page looks like. Using the navigation links at the top of the page, we can check out the active projects. If we click on drainage, that will take us to all of the active drainage projects. Let's dive into one. How about Garden Oaks and Shepherd Park West? This is our standard project page format. It is a snapshot of all of the relevant project information. On the project page, it shows a standard map, which highlights the project area, and general project information, which may be followed by a link below to the project's frequently asked questions. To the right, you're going to see a variety of tools, and first is the Stay Informed Subscribe button. This allows a user to subscribe to this project alone, meaning that this specific project is of great interest. All it requires is inputting your email address here, and you'll be notified via email when updates are posted to the page or new information becomes available. You'll see the current project phase, as well as the project documents, meeting recordings, videos, and pictures underneath that. And of course, every page is going to show you who's listening and who the public engagement team is. At the bottom of the page, there's the Engage Us tool, which allows you to correspond directly with us through this platform. In order to use this tool, you must be registered and signed into site, and we'll be showing you that process shortly. Once you're signed in, you can ask questions, and they're sent directly to the public engagement team, and we research and provide a response to every single question that is asked. The cool thing about this site is that not only does the original poster receive an answer to their question, they'll also be notified via email once there's a response. We wanted to also note that some of the questions and answers will be posted publicly so that others can view the conversation. We say some because in order to respect privacy, we don't post a question and answer if someone uses any personal information, but they still will get an answer and be notified via email. Let's take a look at another project page. Another feature that is available is the Project Updates tool, which allows participants to get the latest information on the project. If they're subscribed, they'll be notified when an update is posted and can share that update to social media or via email. We are working on providing updates for each project so that we can continually keep the community informed and engaged. Last but not least, we encourage everyone to register for this site. Some of the tools we discussed earlier can only be accessed and utilized if you're registered. So it is extremely important to register for the site. We made it as simple, quick, and painless as we could. Here, let me show you. Just create a username and password, then enter your email, zip code, and identify which City of Houston Council District you live in. Of course, if you don't know, select that. Or if it doesn't apply, select none of the above. And then you need to proceed to agree to the terms of use and privacy policy as the next step. To complete the registration process, you'll receive a confirmation email, and once you confirm that it's you, you are good to go. Now, you're all set up to utilize the tools here on engagehouston.org. Welcome.
Now, we want you to hear from the contractor. So at this time, allow me to introduce you to Samuel Montoya with SER Construction to say a few words about their experience. Sam?
Hello there. I'm having a little trouble with my mute button. Thank you. Just one moment. Thank you for this time. A little about SER. We were founded in 1999. We are based in Houston. We specialize in heavy civil construction, including water, sewer, and stormwater utilities, concrete paving, concrete structures and bridges, and earthwork. SER has performed multiple City of Houston projects, several of which will include scopes of work that will be performed on the Alabama project. So we are familiar with this work, and we look forward to a successful project.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
The inspector would love to hear from you too. Along with the contractor, they are the boots on the ground every day. Khalid Abrash with TLC Engineering is the inspector for this project.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name Khalid Abrash. I'm gonna be full-time inspector on this project. and I'm gonna make sure everything, mainly the citizen concern, I'm gonna make sure the traffic control is in order, the safety, and of course the cleanliness, housekeeping. That's very important. And I'm gonna be working with the contractor as a team, and I'm gonna be working with the city team. So we're gonna be teamwork, and team always win. And the neighbors and the citizen are very important to us, and we want to address their concern. And I'm gonna be there full time. And of course, they can come see me. And if we can solve people concern on site without changing the scope of work, will be great. If not, I have to pass it to the city team to take care of things. But I'll be there full time, and you can contact me and see me, and I'll be there to serve you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir. Thank you. We also encourage you to call 311 if you have a concern. You can report online, email, or yes, there's an app for that. It's not just for problems though. We always like to hear if our contractors are doing a great job, so please share that with us as well. I would like to thank Council District C for their support, Ron Shavera and his awesome project team for their participation and support today. Thank you to the fabulous public engagement team for making this meeting possible. And finally, to all of you who have joined us to receive this important project information. Thank you for your time and attention. Please remember to share what you've heard today with your friends and neighbors who could not join us for this live virtual community meeting. And now it's Q&A time. Being present today has its benefits. Why, you ask? Because you will get your questions answered in real time by the fantastic project team. Take advantage now and ask away. The project team is here to answer your questions. At this time, I would like to introduce you to Timothy Williams with the fabulous public engagement team, who will moderate the Q&A session for us. Take it away, Tim.
Will do. Thank you very much, Kenya. And yes, everyone, good afternoon. This is the Q&A portion of our meeting. This is a very popular portion of our meeting in that it allows you to ask those pressing questions that we know you have. So we want to encourage you to go ahead and to begin submitting those questions now. If you have a question, we want you to go ahead and go to the chat bubble in the top corner of your screen. It should be a little bubble there with a question mark in the middle. We ask that everyone, regardless of how you join the meeting, we ask that you submit the questions in like manner, in the same way, so that we can answer them in the most efficient manner. We want to make the best use of everyone's time there. So go ahead and begin sending those questions, and you will certainly get an answer live from the project team. While you're doing that, I just want to let everyone know that all meeting material related to this project will be available on our website, engagehouston.org. You see the name there on the screen. It will be available within 24 hours. That includes today's presentation, of course, the video and the PowerPoint as well. And as Kenya mentioned, you'll have access to maps, FAQs, traffic plans, tree protection plans, and more. Also, please note that this marks the beginning of the Q&A process and not the end. So if you're not able to submit a question, or if you have any questions or comments beyond today's meeting, please submit them to us at buildforward@houstontx.gov, and we'll be sure to follow up with you. You can also submit that question again through engagehouston.org on the project page. Now, I see we have some questions rolling in, so without further ado, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into it. The first question states, could you please clarify the dates on your Okay, and so they want to know if you can clarify the dates with regards to the phasing plan. So I'm not sure, Ken, if you can bring that schedule, bring that map up for us. And we have the contractor on the call. So Sam, we'll direct this one to you. And if you can just kind of reiterate what your phasing plan is in terms of start and stop time for Amy, who just submitted her question.
Okay, Tim, we're following the specified timeline. Now, you know, we start January 10th and we finish in the spring of 2023, but that timeline that was presented earlier of the different colored schematic sheet, I think
Okay.
we should refer to that. We haven't submitted our official schedule yet, and I need to refer back to that if I could.
Okay, no problem. And that was actually one of the follow-up questions that Amy asked. She was asking when will construction, when will it start? So you stated that you're looking to start that in January of 2022, early January. Is that correct?
That is correct. However, there are quite a few utility relocations to be done. Official notice to proceed is January 10th.
Okay.
But there are lots of things to do, and we will have to keep the project team up to date as we approach and move through those relocations.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. And Kenya's bringing that up, and that is available, Amy. That phasing map that you see now, also that's going to be available on the website. There you go, Sam. So if you can.
Okay, you want me to go through that?
Well, just in terms of clarifying the actual start time, which is you stated January 2022, and then the completion time. They're confused about when the project will be complete. If you can just restate that for them and confirm that.
The planned completion is the spring of 2023.
Okay, spring of 2023. Gotcha. That answers the question. Thank you, sir. Okay, the next question asks, will there always be access on at least one lane of West Alabama? Will there always be access on at least one lane of West Alabama? And that's a construction related question, so we'll keep it with the construction side of the project team.
Actually, that's going to be a design. Yeah, we're going to have at least one lane open on Alabama. We intend to use high early strength concrete throughout this project to minimize any issues of only being able to use one lane at a time. So hopefully with that, we'll be able to faster with high early strength concrete.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for the clarification of my mistake on that. Okay, and the next question is, well, they're wanting to know in terms of the duration of the project. Can you kind of speak to, they're saying why will it take so long to complete, but if you can kind of break down for them what goes into starting and actually full completion of this project.
Sure. So the project length is approximately 3,300 linear feet from Wesleyan to Buffalo Speedway. The Buffalo Speedway intersection is not in the scope of this project. However, Wesleyan is, and that is going to be the outfall of our drainage system. So these drainage conduit are very deep, and consequently we have to have right-of-way width, which is very limited. It's a very compressed right-of-way in order to get our equipment in there and to install the utilities. And the utilities that are fairly deep are the storm and the sanitary. So that is probably the most challenging part at least initially when we start this project. And so consequently, that's going to take quite a bit of time. And that phase one will include the installation of the utilities.
Gotcha. Thank you. So in essence, to make sure that this is done right and that we do everything within the scope of this project, it will require that amount of time.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay, the next question. So when you have to block off driveways, how long will they be blocked off? Days, weeks? And they're wanting to know, really, this is a question related to access. When we went out and did the outreach for this project, we did get a number of those questions. So if you can just kind of speak to that with regard to blocking off driveways and follow that up with maintaining access to their businesses and residents and the like.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that all businesses, and that includes the apartment complexes and the townhomes in that area too. We want to make sure that they have access to the private property and of course access to get out also. So the commercial driveways, depending on the width of the driveways, we can do those in half. We can, and again, they're going to be high early strength concrete, so they'll set fairly quickly. And we'll make sure that for sure they'll have at least one access to get into and out of the establishment, whether it be a business or a residence.
Okay, right. And I don't know if there's a typical time, Stephen. Is there a typical set time in which the driveways are blocked off, or does it really just depend on the work that's being done?
Sam, what is it about for high early strength? Is it 3 days?
Well, we've opened them up sooner than that, but that is a safe estimate of time for that to happen.
Right. So conservatively, I would say 3 days.
Timothy, let me just clarify one thing here too for everyone, that drivers, they will stay open at all time. We are providing temporary drivers. The only time that the drivers will be closed and a notice, and all residents, citizens, business owners will be notified by the contractor is when they're pouring concrete. Okay. How long it's going to take, how long it's going to be closed, it's going to be, if it's the highest strength concrete, it would be probably 3 or 4 days. If it's a regular concrete, typically it's going to take 7 days.
Okay, gotcha. And as you mentioned, those within the project area, those who will be impacted will be notified within maybe 48, 72 hours. They will be given advance notification, basically. Am I correct in that?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just wanted to reiterate that. I know there are a lot of businesses in the area who raised that question. So thanks for clarifying. The next question, will there be places for the workers to park? They would prefer that they not have to park in the shopping center. They like to reserve those spots for their customers. So they want to make sure that workers have places to park. And I believe they're referring to the construction workers.
All right, Sam, you want to go ahead and address that?
Well, we are feverishly continuing to look for an area, for a staging area. The residents and the businesses in this area apparently are not looking forward to the project, to be truthful. We have not found an area within the limits where we can stage materials yet, but we continue to look for that. That would also be a place where people, or our construction workers, could park. We're gonna have to work that out with the city and come to some type of agreement if we cannot find a very local staging area. We need to discuss that further.
Okay, great. And I guess based on our outreach and engagement, they're looking forward to the improvements. There's going to take some coordination for the actual execution of the project. The next question: how does the city justify bike lanes at the expense of increased traffic lanes in light of all the thousands of additional apartment units that have been constructed on Alabama Street within the last 3 years? So let me repeat that. How does the city justify bike lanes at the expense of increased traffic lanes in light of all the thousands of additional apartment units that have been constructed on Alabama Street within the last 3 years? So you can really speak to the reason for adding those bike lanes to the project.
Chancey, do you want to address that, please?
Sure, Steve. Hello, everyone. I am with AECOM Technical Services, and we're the consulting engineers on this project for the city of Houston. So that is a good question regarding traffic movement versus bicycle lanes and pedestrian access. So before we started this project, we did a traffic study of this entire corridor from Wesleyan Oxley all the way to Spur 527. And for this first segment of West Alabama, we did the traffic modeling based on future traffic projections as well. And so as most of you know, the current lane configuration for West Alabama has 2 lanes that are going westbound on West Alabama and 1 lane going eastbound, and then 1 center left turn lane all the way through. So based on our current traffic modeling and traffic projection, we have come to the conclusion that 1 lane of traffic in each direction is sufficient to provide a reasonable level of service. And also based on our previous public engagement with the community prior to finalizing this project, we did some outreach and then the community requested that bike lanes be added to this project. And this is the conclusion of our traffic modeling, our various traffic studies, as well as our community outreach. And that's why we currently have 1 lane in each direction, 1 center turn lane, as well as on-street bicycle lanes for the most part through this corridor.
Okay. Thank you, Chance. The next question asks, will sidewalks be added to the current sections of West Alabama between Buffalo Speedway and Wesleyan that do not currently have sidewalks? So do the areas that don't currently have sidewalks within the project area, will sidewalks be added to those sections?
Steve, do you want me to take that one?
Yes, please.
Please, Chance.
That is also a very valid question. We all understand that this entire corridor, there are limited segments of sidewalk, and some of them are not as wide as is required based on current standard. And so part of the improvements on this project is to provide continuous sidewalk access from Wesleyan all the way to Buffalo Speedway.
Thank you. The next question has to do with drainage. They're wanting to know, how will the drainage be improved? Can you just talk about drainage improvements on this project?
Chancey, you're on.
All right, I will do that. So based on our initial drainage impact study, we understand that we're keeping the overall roadway pavement similar to what is existing. And based on our field investigation and our drainage modeling, we are not aware of any current excessive drainage or flooding issues within this project limit. But as a part of this improvement and future provision, we are going in with upgrading the sizes of the storm sewer conduit within this project limit so that we are able to handle greater storm event and more runoff in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. You actually answered the, the next question after that, so we appreciate that. Okay. The next question asks, when was the traffic modeling done? And they want to know the current status of that traffic model. Is it current? Is it outdated?
I would have to go back and get back as far as the exact date of when the traffic modeling was done. I know it was done quite a few years back, but as part of that modeling effort, not only did we did the traffic study based on existing condition at that time, but we also did traffic projections for future residences and future traffic volumes in the near future or in the foreseeable future. So in general, I would say that the traffic modeling is up to date, but I need to confirm the exact date that the traffic modeling and study was done. So we'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next question is, you're spending $14 million, but overhead lines and poles will remain on the street. The poles take up most of the sidewalks. So if you could just kind of speak to the issue of what the plan is, the what's and whys for the poles and the lines along West Alabama. I think that's really what they're asking.
Steve, would you like me to discuss, or would you like to speak on this?
Well, maybe both of us. So we're going to take the existing transverse lines and we were going to put those under the pavement so that you would have a clear view without overhead lines between Wesleyan and Buffalo Speedway. The power poles along West Alabama, to put those underground, one, would be very costly. We didn't have a sponsor. This is a city-sponsored project. We didn't have anybody who would sponsor it, like, say, for example, Upper Kirby TERS. So we did the best we could to move the poles in a location where it would not be in the sidewalk, like some of them are today. Chancey, can you add to that?
Well, like Steve, I also want to mention that putting the powers, putting all the power lines and the other communication lines under the ground, as you said, first of all, you can't have 100% right. It's very costly. Second of all, due to such a congested area with everything else under the ground, it would require additional right-of-way. And as a result, it's just not going to be possible to have everything under the ground.
And I want to add that the existing power poles, you are correct, some of them are in the middle of sidewalks. But as part of this project improvements, we are coordinating with CenterPoint to relocate these poles so that they are not in conflict with sidewalk access. And but as far as relocating the lines that are running along West Alabama, I believe our team has addressed that, and it is just a very costly effort, and there's not sufficient funding. And also, it is a congested corridor that would require additional right-of-way acquisition.
Okay, thank you. And along those lines, we do have a question. What is the feasibility of approaching the individual property owners to possibly be sponsors of the required cost of bearing the poles? I'm not sure if that's something that the city that's we normally do, but what is the feasibility of that? Have we done that on past projects?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what is buffering the space between road and sidewalk? Who maintains this area? So the space between the road and the sidewalk, the buffer space, they wanted to know who maintains that portion of the street.
I will go ahead and take an initial answer on that question. So in general, this corridor has a very narrow right-of-way where there are many, not only are there roadway lanes that within the corridor, but there are underground utilities that serve AT&T, and there are major duct banks and sanitary lines and gas lines throughout this corridor as well. And so it is a very congested corridor. In general, with this particular project improvement, we are trying to provide a minimum of about 2 feet between the back of curb and the edge of the sidewalk. And the entire width of the sidewalk, of course, would be within city right-of-way, and the city would be maintaining everything within the city right-of-way limits. But there are in certain situations where we run into a very tight corridor where we cannot provide the 2-foot buffer between the back of the curb and the sidewalk. In that case, we would push the sidewalk or the SUP right next to the back of curb behind the road. But overall, it will be a major improvement to what is out there.
Okay, gotcha. And so in essence, that will be the city's responsibility to maintain that portion.
That is correct. The city will maintain everything within the city right away.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Okay, the next question is, in the modeling for this project, how many predicted bike riders will use this corridor daily? So do we have an idea on the bicycle activity that may result as a result of this being part of the project? Do we know anything about that? Will it increase?
That is a very good question. I would have to go back and review our modeling from a few years ago, and we'll have to get back to the person who asked this question at a later time.
Okay. Okay, and just so that everyone knows, we do provide notifications and updates on our project page. So I want to again encourage those of you, and these are great questions that are coming. Please go to the website, and you saw the video earlier. Certainly register for the West Alabama project page, and you'll get notifications and updates as they become available as it relates to this project. So I want to encourage everyone to do that. And okay. And with that, it looks like that was our last, sorry, excuse me. Looks like that was our last question for the day. Let me just check the queue here. Okay, we have another. What is the definition of a congested corridor? And why would the city remove traffic lanes in a congested corridor? Is this safe for bike riders? What is the definition of a congested corridor? Why would the city remove traffic lanes in a congested corridor? And is this safe for bike riders?
Timothy, I think the word that we use, congested, we were referring to the underground utilities.
Okay.
We were talking about burying the power line underneath the ground instead of on the power pole, and the power pole being close to the sidewalk. And I believe that the question was that we're spending so many dollars, why can't we bury the power lines? I mean, power lines under the ground, and we said that it's because this corridor is very congested. Congestion is not because of the traffic, it's because all the other utilities that are underneath the ground.
Okay.
Tim,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think I heard the question differently. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tim. I think he's talking about traffic congestion, right? Is it traffic congestion?
Let me bring it up again and refer to it.
Because
Yeah,
we model traffic. We look at, and I'm going to be very generic in my explanation, but we look at the level of service of mobility, and we try to improve that level of service by improving our signals. And of course, we model the average daily traffic count within the limits of the corridor. So I hope that answered his question. So it's improvement of the level of service of mobility from Wesleyan to Buffalo Speedway.
Okay.
And Chance, if you want to get more technical on that, be my guest.
No, Steve, I think that's basically in terms of traffic concerns, that would be it. And as far as the safety concerns for bicyclists, I believe we are designing a spot to provide enough width for vehicular lanes as well as bike lanes based on current design standards.
Great, and thank you. And yes, the citizen did follow up with the clarification. Yes, they were referring to traffic congestion, and that question was asked and answered. So with that was the last question for this evening. I want to thank everyone for being a part of this public meeting today. We want to thank the project team, the amazing project team, for being on the call with us, our engagement team as well. We thank everyone again with District C's office. Thank you very much for your support on this project, and to the citizens and business owners as well. And just as a reminder, this marks the beginning of Q&A and not the end. So if you have any questions, and we got certainly a high level of interest on this project, please do submit them to us. And again, you can send them to us at buildforward@houstontx.gov. Or you can also go to engagehouston.org there and submit the question on the project page. And again, we encourage you to to sign up and register for the project page to get those updates and notifications as they become available. Thank you all for being on the call, and have a good night.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Timothy. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.